Hello and welcome to this special edition of A Game Master's Perspective. For today I'm presenting an adventure that I've written myself and I'm kinda proud of what I've created here. I've greatly improved in adventure writing, map creation and especially in layout and presentation. Let me show you. This is a collection of 3 adventure sites for the Death in Space RPG. They offer a mixture of social encounters, exploration and horror, and I've laid it all out, constructed in a way how I like to have my adventures presented when I buy them, which took a bit of restraint. I had like a default plot in here, how I would run the adventure, but I don't especially like it when an adventure gives that to me. I just want the locations, the NPCs and stuff that could happen, but not a default plot, for I think the plot is what happens when the players are unleashed upon the world. I'm very much going for a sandboxy approach. So I had to restrain myself, take out that default plot again, and trust that any GM who picks this up will be able to adapt the adventures however they see fit, make it their own. Anyway, spoiler alert from here on out. If you are a player and you would like to play this, send a video link to your game master and stop watching. But thanks for watching. Now let's get into it. The first adventure site is the Mice mining station located at the Messier 51 asteroid belt. And they are famous for their zero-G drugs and treatment that make it possible for unmodified humans to live in microgravity for extended periods of time. Because in my Death in Space version there is no artificial gravity. Space stations have either spin gravity or, much more common, no gravity at all. But the thing about the Mice mining station is it is actually a front for the To the Other Void cult. And here are 2 factions, the Endarkened and the Constructors, who are fighting over control of the station and the To the Other cult in general, with their leaders Nihil and Gentin and Bartomora. Stuck in the middle of all of that is a Stalwerked union recruiter who is wondering why no one wants to join his union. And as for each adventure site, I give D6 adventure hooks and D6 inciting incidents you can use during the adventure to make it more interesting. The second adventure site is the Visitor from the Void, which is also the Void connection for the 3 adventures. You can either get the quest to go here on the Mice mining station. It might crash into the next adventure sites, the expedition on Lepidoptera, or the ship that is actually on this asteroid that is the adventure site might become infected and then dock at the Mice mining station. Again, D6 adventure hooks and D6 incidents on the mining ship, but this time also random encounters, because this is more of a dungeon crawl. Let's have a look at the map. This here derelict mining ship is what is crashed on the asteroid in which the players can explore. It is currently completely frozen because when they drilled into that asteroid they found a nano-infection that quickly began to spread along the ship until the ship's AI used the fire suppression system to freeze everything in place. But now that the asteroid is getting closer to the sun of Tenbris once more, it begins to thaw and the infestation begins to spread. So there we have a horror adventure with like infected zombies, though these become more dangerous and more intelligent as the infestation spreads, because it's like a hive mind, and the more bodies that the infestation controls, the more like brain power it has. So the infected and the random encounters are becoming more dangerous over time until you meet the infestation Katamari. To make this all more complicated, there's another ship of prospectors, a salvage crew, also docked to this ship. I had them arrive shortly after the players got there, just to make things more complicated, and then you might have a fight, you might have some diplomacy, somehow you have to deal with this other ragtag crew that will also run around the ship and trigger the infestation, and maybe bring the infestation to their ship, maybe to the player's ship. And if you want to make it even more complicated, I've got some NPC wildcards. A crew from the TTO, from the To the Other Void Cult, and they could also arrive at the derelict mining ship. And then it becomes a three-way free-to-all to salvage as much from the ship as possible. The last adventure site is on a planet. It's on Lepidoptera, which only got a brief description in the Death and Space core rules. It is dominated by tree-tall black grass. Something like a bamboo forest, I assumed. But if the grass is black, then going through this jungle, even with the flashlight, will be a very scary experience, because the plants will just swallow all of the light. I imagine something like a Vanta black forest. You could basically only see what is in the direct cone of your flashlight. And then when you traverse this forest, you get hunted by these eyeless alien creatures. A little bit like how the soldiers got hunted in Predator. So I had great fun putting on the Predator soundtrack and then trying to pick off the player characters one by one with these crickets. Once the players arrive at the archaeological dig site, it becomes more of a diplomatic problem, because Tercy, the leader of the Combiner research outpost that the player probably needs something from, has been taken prisoner by the Lepidopteran ghosts, who don't want anyone to unearth these artifacts. This whole area is taboo to them, so they are cultured, if not highly technological, race of humanoid anthropods that live on Lepidoptera, and they will try to convince these off-worlders to leave this whole area alone. They don't know why the area is taboo, but the players might find out. If the players descend to search for Tercy in the ancient ruins, or at least that is what I did in my adventure. Again, you got D6 adventure hooks that you might use as inspiration how you want to run this adventure side. But I had my players go into these ancient ruins, down and down, until they found the reactor. Because these ancient ruins are actually a steampunk nuclear reactor. The native Lepidopterans are very resilient to radiation, so they didn't quite understand how deadly it is until over years and decades of using this as a power source, they became sterile and the whole civilization declined. The city became ruined. The reactor was abandoned, and the survivors fled into the forest, returned to being hunter-gatherers, and held that old area as taboo because it only brought death. For these adventure sites that are supposed to be explored like a dungeon, I put whatever you might find in the rooms right there on the map. So it is on one page, all in one spot. You have the map and what you can find on one side, and then you can put the random encounters and your monsters on the other side. So you've got everything ready without having to constantly flip pages. And that's how I arranged the layout. I put all of the NPCs and the encounters and the monsters right where you need them, rather than putting them all in the back or grouping it into the NPCs on Lepidoptera or something. This is supposed to make it as easy as possible for you to GM this adventure. And here this book ends with the NPC wildcards that you might use to initialize or complicate the adventures on all three of the adventure sites. I've got Bo Rover from the Iron Ring, Zero Candela from the To the Other Void Cold, and their spaceship, the Merry Death. Then in the back we've got all of the maps, from the Mice Mining Station, Derelict Mining Ship, the ship of the other crew, the salvage team, the research outpost of Konbina, and the Ancient Ruins level 1, level 2, the Merry Death. And yeah, that is the Void Connection, adventure compatible with Death in Space. I'm pretty proud of how this turned out, and I hope that you will enjoy it and have great fun running and playing this adventure. I'll leave a link to this down in the video description below. Thanks for watching. I wish thee farewell, dreamers, until we shall meet again.